Call the meeting to order. Roll call, please, Terry.
Brennan,
Here.
Chartrand,
Here.
Dahlhoff,
Here.
Hathaway,
Here.
King,
Here.
Colzer,
Here.
Mowerhand. Here. Mosier,
Here.
Fawcett,
Here.
Tabo.
Here. Please stand, we'll have an invocation. Heavenly Father, you've called on each one of us to serve you in the best we can. We pray that you will watch over and guide us as we make our decisions. And we pray that throughout the world, our world leaders will make intelligent decisions that make us a more peaceful world. We pray for all this. Amen. Pledge to the flag.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Everyone should have received a copy of the June 7th meeting minutes. Does anyone have any corrections at this time? Not, the minutes stand approved. Report of the Rules and Legislation Committee for Rule 6, Terry.
The Rules and Legislation Committee has met and they recommend to waive the rules to act upon late resolutions this evening.
Moved by Brian, second by Larry. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. And at this time, we open our public hearing for comments on the proposed addition to the Lee Gulf Trail and Tour to the Lewis County ATV Trail Permit. Does anyone here wish to make any comments regarding the opening of that, the addition of that tract? Okay, we'll keep it open for the time being, and we'll move on now to privilege of the floor. With us this evening, we have Dan Salmon, who will give us an update on the Kraft Heinz project, I hope. Dan, you have the floor.
Thank you.
Would you like a speaker, Dan?
No, unless someone says they can't hear me. Okay. Last Thursday, we had a special meeting with Kraft Heinz concerning the project and where we're at. We're still working on funding, which has been very, very trying. We're working on easements for the Kraft Heinz sewer lines to the plant. Hopefully we should know more tomorrow night in our regular meeting. We've applied for an EFC grant, and we've updated our speedies permit. We will be ordering equipment needed for the plant as soon as we have some guarantee on the funding. Bob, plant manager, Fernando, is working with Kraft Heinz on agreement methodology and in cooperation with the village. To date, the village has spent several hundred thousands of dollars. And moving forward, I recall that, I think it was Andrea was at one of our meetings, and she said, do whatever we can to help Kraft Heinz, and I believe that we've done that. Per a study done by Frank, there are 192 dairy farms in Lewis County, of which 152 provide milk for Kraft. One of those dairy farms, and one only, is within the village of Lava. According to the report, Kraft Heinz at current time employs 343 people, of which 280 are in Lewis County, which truly makes it a regional project. In talking with Fernando at the last meeting, the way I understood it, they're going to add 12 people currently to their Philly cream cheese, and by next September, they should be around 120 to 150 employees on the string cheese, which is, the way I understand it, the only string cheese plant that Kraft will have in the continental United States. Kraft in the last 6 months has used about 62% of the metered water. The rate of the taxes paid, or the rate of their bill, they pay about 48%. Based on that, they pay $54,718, and the tax at the county taxes the village. And overall, they pay $68,000 extra based on the $142,000 for the other tax entities. Again, this is for a plan of 152 dairy farms that provide milk and tax funds. In the words of Trustee Franz Felipe last week at the meeting, he felt that the village has done a Herculean effort in moving forward with craft. And we have people here from the county that have helped. So in closing, for the betterment of the craft and the regional community, I'm asking that once again, you consider removing the tax that craft pays 2/3 of in the spirit of economic development. And that's the report, and I'll give this to you, Mike, for anybody that wants it. And then you can make copies of it. Thank you.
Thank you, Dan.
Dan, I'm going to have a little clarification because I'm not clearly understanding what your request is. Would you rephrase that, please? Your request.
My request is that the county, Lewis County, forego and take back the tax that they're taxing us on our water filtration plant and the small portion that's on the number 3 road that's also outside of your corporate boundaries, of which Kraft pays 66% of through their water rate, because we obviously pass it on to them. And it's part of the water rate that we have to do.
So what you're talking about is you want the tax rate that Lowville itself pays removed.
Right, of which 66% of that, and the figure that I gave, Mike, comes directly from Kraft. 48%. 48%, about 60% of the total bill outside of the county, which you have no control of. We have other taxing entities that I listed in there. The town of New Bremen, the town of Watson, Lowville Academy and Central School, and Beaver River School District, of which Beaver River School taxes alone are $60,000. And the argument one could raise there is there's many people that work at Kraft that come from there that in some ways are we helping Kraft by doing that as we strive to make them as competitive as we can. So that, and I think that's one of the reasons they're coming. A lot of people have said to us, our water rates are too low. And my remark back to that is, maybe that's one of the reasons that they're here. Because if we raise the water rates, then it's just going to be more of an impact on them because they're 66%, 60 to 66% of our water usage. So that's where I'm coming from, and those are the facts that I've gotten from the village through Pam and the information that Frank provided for us in moving forward.
Dan, could I just ask, you're making this request on behalf of your entire board of trustees?
I am, at this point, no, I am not. I'm making this request, yes, but it's not from the board. I worked on this today. But I think at various times, our whole board has asked for this. And if need be, I can make it in a motion tomorrow night, and I'm sure that I would get the votes. And I go back to this, and I know that this was challenged in court, and I know, but my thought is, this probably should have never had to have been. And then when it was, the agreement between the board on 3/2 of 1998, Ralph Farney and myself, because we felt that something should be in writing, when sometimes it should be just a gentleman's agreement. I went to court and we lost. And my theory of thinking is municipalities shouldn't be taxing municipalities. But unless there's any other question, yes?
So, just for clarification, Kraft pays 48% of the budget for the water,
They use 62%,
but they
but
pay,
based on the methodology and the industrial rate, they pay 48%, and that fluctuates.
okay, so all the taxes that you're talking about are in that water system budget.
Yes.
So, actually, it's not a village tax, it's a charge borne by the users of the water system.
Yes, which are people outside of the village that are in water districts, people that are within the water district, within the village, industrial users, to an extent your own hospital that pays the water usage, although the hospital's water usage is very minute. I mean, the whole rest of the village is using 38% of the water. Craft is using 62%. And like I said, that fluctuates. Sometimes it's going to be more than that with the addition. It's going to be more than that. It's probably going to be, we're figuring about 75%.
The usage charge that the village puts forward for these users, is that a solvent or is it running in the red or in the black? Does it pay for itself?
It pays for itself.
Okay.
By
And they're the
state,
people,
by-
and they're the people using it, correct?
Yes,
And this tax is included in it.
yes.
But if we take that tax out, wouldn't that be taxing all the other people in the county to pay for something they're not using? Wouldn't it be?
My question would become to you, Craig, is how many people outside of the county work at that facility?
I wouldn't argue that, but the people in the village driving the county roads and people outside the village driving the county roads. So how do you make up that money except on the back of the taxpayer in general?
The way you did it before you taxed us 2 years ago.
I can't,
I'm gonna correct you on that, Dan, because that happened even before Craig and I were on this
and
board.
that's been more than
It's
2
been more
years.
than 2
You're-
years.
You're right, it's been 3 or 4, I'm sorry.
It's
You're
been
correct.
more than 4, it's been close to 4, so.
Yes, because you're right, because we're at 100% right now. This year we became at 100%.
And in essence, if you did that, I would suspect, I don't know, but somehow that's still gonna fall back on the people in the village and their tax form because it takes so many dollars to run the county. And if they don't make it up that way, they'll have to make it up another way.
We have to, I'm not sure.
And the only way to make up money is taxes, so
Well, the water and sewer has to be kept separate from the general fund. There's 3 separate funds. So the tax side is irrelevant to the water and sewer side. They're all separate funds.
now what I'm saying is the revenues have to be made up. If you take that deficit to the county that they're now receiving on that land and that equipment and that water, then they've got to make it up by taxing the general county resident, right?
I can't.
And you live in the county, so that would
Sure.
be people in the village too. We all pay county tax. So they're not using the water, but you want us to charge them for it.
No.
That's all I'm thinking.
I don't believe that anything else, we can't, well, Craig, if we wanted to get real serious about this, this courthouse is within the corporate boundaries of the county. So the village can't tax you for it. So we sat inside the village on a tax side. And we're at about 50%, don't hold me to that, give or take a few percent, of tax exempt property. The municipal parking lot that we own, it was just bought, not the parking lot, but the building by Transitional Living. So the village, again, had 8,000 come off the tax roll. And when that happens with something within the village, they pay county, town, school, and village tax. So I think the figure was about $40,000 total in taxes. Pat could tell me, I know it's about 8 for the village alone that we're going to lose there too, so. I guess the bottom line is this. The healthier your village is, with all the industry that we have, the better off we are. And many people come into this village from outside to work here. You know, you don't have to do anything to relieve us of that, but just like you said, it's something we have to pass on. And like I said, it's 62% to industry, or 48%, they use 62% of the water. And I'm going to say that after next year, it's going to be about 75% of the water that Craft uses. So it's really not the village taxpayers per se, it's Craft. And the rest is going to be 25%.
Dan, correct me if I'm wrong, but I thought that part of the discussion was between the village and Kraft on potentially renegotiating that whole agreement, which I think has been in place since the 60s.
We are trying to renegotiate that right now. We're not there yet. But even if that is so, it's still going to be based on a percentage of what is used. So even though if there's a renegotiation, because they may use 70 to 75% of the sewer, which I don't have the concrete figures for yet, they're only paying 60%.
Yeah, but I'm thinking that if you get to a point where, just say theoretically, if they were using 70% of the capacity and they were paying 70%, then there would be some balance there, right?
There would be some, yes.
Because let me understand, I mean, just like with the water, Dan, if they use more, the village receives more revenue, correct?
Yes,
Okay, so as their usage jumps up, your revenue source is jumping up. To put a different spin on this,
well,
I personally, Dan, with the exemption, I would be willing to vote it, to give it back to you, but where's that money gonna go? Are you gonna start repairing your infrastructure that's been in here since 1950 throughout the village and for crap? Or are you just gonna sit on the money?
we're
And
starting,
if I'm willing to give you back that money, I wanna see that investment on my money.
we have started to do that right now,
Right.
the plans in phase 1 and
I
phase
realize
2.
that, but that's something, and I'm not saying it's just you, but that's been something historical with the village. This system has been in place since 1950. The revenues you've been taking in have not been used to upgrade as they needed or to repair as they needed. It falls apart, and then now you're in a hole and you're trying to dig out. I'm saying to you is that if I'm willing to give you that exemption, I want to see the money being used to maintain your system, upgrade it when it needs it, instead of seeing it get dilapidated the way that it is, where it's costing you a fortune to fix it.
May I go with two things? First off, the extra revenue with the chemical outlay that we have to treat that water with is gonna be close to a wash. Now, I don't have the exact figures. Number two, one of the things that the village has done through the last 70 years, right, wrong, or indifferent, has kept the rates low, and I would believe in my heart that that's helped keep craft competitive. Because, as you know, the bottom line with major corporations today is very, very important. So I look at that as a double-edged sword. I'm not arguing with you.
I understand that, Dan, but by keeping your rates low, which from my understanding are some of the lowest rates in New York State, and I applaud you for craft on that end, but can't you see, it's no different than you in the village with your equipment, us doing it with the county equipment maintenance. We cut so hard, things have fallen apart. You're to the point now where it's costing you a third more now than what it would have been 15 years ago. That's all that I'm saying. You have to just like your house, you have to maintain it. You have to take care of it as it gets older, so your costs aren't exuberated because you let things fall apart. That's all that I'm saying, and I'm not blaming you or the board. It's been going on for years. I mean,
I think we're getting a little off the subject.
Can I say one last thing?
Yes, Dan.
If you read today's paper that the mayor was in, you will see that we're being very progressive and moving forward with the 5 streets, which is part of the water and sewer, so we don't have as much going in. So I think we've been fairly aggressive. I've presented what I want to, and I don't want to take any more of your time because I'm sure you got a lot on your plate. I present what I have.
Dan, one more thing. I'm not sure how we got to this point, whether it was that court challenge, but we now, I believe, charge all the water districts in the county. So every municipal water system is being taxed the same as the village of Lowell. So in order to be fair, we would have to, we'd have to make all the water systems exempt along with Lowell.
I think you'll find that the other water systems are, correct me if I'm wrong, Pat, pretty minute in comparison and pale to what
To
we
them,
I hear you.
To them, it's just as expensive as yours is to you.
Right, but what I'm saying is, you might see 10,000 coming from Port Light. And yes, you probably have to make up about $70,000.
and that's gonna fall on every taxpayer in the county. All we're doing is passing the buck from one resident to another, Dan. That's all that you're doing. The tax money's got, whether it's from the village side or the county side, the tax money's gotta come from somewhere. So, sure, we can give you the money back, however much it is, I don't know what it is. But the county, you gotta tax the taxpayer, which will be your village residents and everything.
Can I make one last comment?
Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah,
I got one last comment. I've listened to the Board of Legislators, and rightfully so, talk about unfunded mandates. I would say that the same thing happened to us.
And I
and Dan, you made a good comment that municipalities don't tax municipalities. So what I'd like to see is, we've talked about this several times and not lately in committee. And Craig, you're on taxation committee, I think Brian and Larry. Could you just discuss this at your next committee meeting and give it some thought? And Jerry, you'd like to attend
Well,
because you have the
essentially what it
experience.
did is, I was gonna wait till later, it doubled. If we gave everybody the exemptions that we gave the village, we'd have gone from 30-some thousand dollars up to 78,000.
But I'd like to see the committee
And
look
check
at
it
that,
again.
see how it affect our budget.
And if we're gonna give everybody it back, I can support it, but if we're not, I won't.
Okay, so let's let the committee look at
Yeah, we'll
it.
take it to committee and
Thank you, Dan.
Thank you for your time.
Anyone else for privilege of the floor? Okay, we'll move along, presentation, communication, and notices, Terry.
Mr. Kenneth Bibbins has submitted a letter of resignation from the Lewis County Traffic Safety Board as the DOT's local representative. The board acknowledges receipt resolution from Cattaraugus County Legislature urging the governor to sign the Public Defense Mandate Relief Act for the state's phased-in takeover of county defense expense. And that concludes correspondence.
Thank you, Terry, and now reports of the county officers and departments, Terry.
Sealer of Weights and Measures Barb Cooper submitted her second quarterly report to be placed on file. County Treasurer Patty O'Brien and Real Property Tax Director Candy Akins submitted an approved application for a refund of real property taxes for 2015 in the amount of $132.24 for Kevin Farr for his property in the town of Leyden. Legislators have received copies of the Treasurer's June report as well as the second quarterly Fed tax report, the June 24th solid waste, and the June 28th highway audit reports, and the apportionment of mortgage tax for the period of October 1 to 2015 to March 31, 2016. And that concludes reports.
Thank you, Terry. Now reports of standing committees, Phil, Ways and Means, Buildings and Grounds.
I'll apologize ahead of time, Mike, because I have a brief report.
Starting to cry.
Regarding the solar, the Green Skies came in and did some core drilling and put some I-beams in to test the soils and the strengths and as part of their engineering program. The steps outside by the courthouse there, they're gonna pour tomorrow. The fence up at DSS, that'll be done within a week. The DSS lot, there's still issues with the bond, and we intend on getting together with BCNA about that. And also, BCNA has sent us a punch list that we're gonna review and add or delete as we see fit. Up at PSB, a prisoner complained about the water, that he was getting a rash or something like that. So we had it tested and everything, the water was just fine. Thanks, Dan. That was village water, we appreciate that.
Still has any antifreeze in it?
There is something that Joan and I would like to discuss at executive session at the end of the regular meeting. Right, Joan? Negotiation, attorney-client
Yes.
negotiation.
Yep.
And regarding the building grounds, I'd like to do a motion to go out for an RFP for plowing all the tower sites. We'd like to do that to see what kind of response we get. We're kind of weighing whether we really want to do it on an ongoing or as needed, and that's going to help us understand the cost of it. So I would make that motion to do an RFP for plowing all the tower sites.
So Phil,
Moved by Phil, is there a second?
Second.
Second by Larry. Larry, discussion?
Does that mean one person's gonna bid on all of them, or are you gonna accept separate bids for individual?
We're hoping one person would do it for all of them, but we will accept separates. And we're also including the highway department in the discussion. If we decide that we don't need to have it every day plowed, and don't need the highway can go in and clear it out as needed type thing. So it's kind of, we gotta see how they come back, and this is a starting point.
Any other questions, comments? All in favor of Phil's motion, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
One last thing is I attended along with Frank Pace and Eric Verkler the Missile Defense Agency presentation for Fort Drum. And I would just mention a couple of things. They gave us a handout, and I'll focus it on the jobs and that type thing. One thing that would affect particularly my district is they would be closing 3A. So people from my neck of the woods would have to go through Carthage and over, which is about 5 miles further, but probably about 15 minutes longer. And they understand that, and they're working on some factors to mitigate that, maybe staggered shifts and that type thing. But regarding the employees, during construction, they anticipate 400 to 600 workers if it's a 5-year schedule. If it's speeded up to a 3-year schedule, then that would obviously increase. They feel like the construction efforts would add $1 million a year in sales tax revenue, not for us obviously, but the value added would be $190 million a year, and indirect jobs during construction again would be like 1,836. They feel like that would be like truck drivers and that type of thing. When they get in operation, they're thinking 650 to 850 workers on site. The general was non-committal, let's put it that way, regarding what the mix would be between civilian and military workers. Matter of fact, he didn't really give us any good indication on that. But there again, they feel like that would add $1.6 million to the sales tax revenues, and in the region every year the value added would be $27 million, and indirect jobs would be 340. That there was an awful lot more to it, but that I'm trying to be concise and just talk about the jobs. If anybody has any questions, I'd be happy to try to answer them, and Frank can as well.
Questions for Phil or Frank? Thanks, Phil. That was kind of a good report.
Kind of, thank you.
Rocky, social service?
It'd be longer next month.
First report from Department of Social Services. Summer youth employment started today, July 5th. 20 youth around Lewis County are working in various organizations this summer. The PINS Diversion Summer Program kicked off today also. 16 youths ages 11 to 15 are provided some summer programming, including recreation, community service, and education. The youth are supervised by 2 Pratt Northam interns. As many may know, the Office of the Comptroller recently released a report on shelters across New York State. The local apartment used by the DSS for shelter services had some issues identified, and all those issues were remedied within 14 days of the report being issued. DSS partners with Lewis County Opportunities in order to provide safe shelter for those in need. Report from Office of the Aging. 2016 Senior Farmers Market Nutrition Program. Coupons are available for distribution beginning July 1st. Call Office of the Aging 376-5313 for details and distribution sites. Coupons issued through September 30th or until gone. Vendor booth at the Lewis County Fair, July 19th to 22nd. New York Connects, your link to long-term services and supports. In conjunction with Office for the Aging, will be having a vendor booth at the Lewis County Fair from 10 a.m. to 8 p.m. each day. Vendor table will consist of an array of pertinent information related to population served. Please stop by. Senior Citizens Day at Lewis County Fair, Thursday, July 21st. Annual Senior Day held at the Lewis County Fairgrounds. This is an all-day event honoring senior citizens. Opening ceremonies are at 9:25 with a day ending at 3:30. Entertainment will be provided by the Allen Beatrice Band and the Nelson Brothers with fun, dancing, and a chance to mingle with fellow senior citizens. Chronic Disease Self-Management Program, Staying Healthy in Lewis County. This 6-week course is available to the public with pre-registration. Held on consecutive Tuesdays beginning July 26th at Maple Ridge Center in Loudville. Call Office of the Aging, 376-5313 for details and pre-registration. Alzheimer's Caregiver Support Group, July 28th. This monthly Alzheimer's Support Group is held at Maple Ridge Center in Loudville on the third Thursday of each month from 10 to 11. The group focuses on caring for someone with dementia and/or Alzheimer's, but any type of caregiver is welcome to attend. Call OFA for details. Report from Youth Bureau. We would like to welcome our new student representatives whose term of office on the board began June 2016, and they are as follows. Dustin Snyder, Copenhagen. Noah Raymer, Copenhagen. Journey Allen, Harrisville. Camille Ledoux, Beaver River. Sean Shaw, Beaver River. Madeline Lehman, Loudville. And that completes my report, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Rocky. Brian, county officers, veterans, junkyard, HR.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Veterans will not meet until next month and we'll have quarterly numbers from there from that. As far as the junkyard goes, we've had 6 complaints, 4 of which are in our attorney's hands yet. One is probably going to be a while because the gentleman is incarcerated and has been for a while. Ward has reached out to the others. A lot of the problems have been taken care of. He's reached out up to your area. That's in the works too.
Is that?
Yeah.
So they're still there?
Yeah, I realize that, but there's a process they got to go through. So they had the junkyard board gave him until July 9th. Okay. To have them
To respond?
Yes. So
That's this week.
yes, that would be this week.
All right, great.
So depending on what happens there, they'll move forward with that. And we've had 3 license renewals and 1 annual inspection. I'm also, and I've never reported this before, so Michelle's here, you'll be happy I'm going to speak about this, Michelle. I'm on the Cooperative Extension Board, and so we had our meeting last Wednesday, I think it was, and just some stuff that they've been doing. I'm sure that she's been in contact with you. Their budget is finished, right, you said, Michelle? So that's great. That helps Patty and Liz out. And Phil in your community, Peggy Murray is the head of the agriculture program. She's working with a beginner farmer as far as getting a grant to start up a farm here in Lewis County, so she's been working with that young person. And October 1st, the family farm visit is at Peter and Sandy Jones's farm in Copenhagen, and if you don't know where that is, if you come into Copenhagen and turn right by the gazebo and head down towards the Deer River, they're down there on the left as you head out of town. And that would be HR is the normal stuff. I have vacancies. I had asked Mr. Swartz to forward the organizational charts of all the departments within the county, kind of so everyone has an idea of what when we approve head counts and stuff, what we're doing and how many supervisors versus employees areas and all that. Just gives us a better basis to ask questions. So, and that would be all I have for my report, Mr. Chairman.
When was that farm visit, Brian?
It is October 1st.
We call it family farm.
Family farm visit.
And what road was that?
Okay, so
Deer River Road.
Deer River Road, so if you come in from Carthage up past Voyage, you see it like that, just you come into the village on top of the hill when you come up there and be on the right. It's the farm right there by the old 801 housing, just before the 801 housing.
Okay. Good.
Very good, Brian. Jerry, courts and law.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. We've been having a weekly conference call with E.F. Johnson. We're making progress as far as them getting the UFH system tweaked. They're still working on the pagers. They've made a little bit of progress there. They went home this past Friday. They'll be back next Monday to continue working on that. Went to Stillwater program that DEC put on with Black River Authority, and they did a desktop there going through the dams and different scenarios on good days. That was very interesting. Sheriff, we're down, as you know, 2 deputies for road, and we need 1 or 2 for dispatch, so they're trying to find people for that. That's all I have, Mr. Chairman.
Jerry, could you just remind everyone, we hear a lot of complaints about radio and pagers, but you've told me several times that the UHF system will pick up inside a building?
Yeah, I'd be glad to. This system was designed, and all the systems are designed for on-road coverage. And what we've reached out to all the fire departments and emergency management, sheriff's department, law enforcement, what they need to realize is this is a digital system. It may work for the whole building, but you're going in there for the first time. So what we do is ask people to go to what they call the TAC channel, off-air channel. And then you need someone out on channel 7 to monitor it when people are interior. And it works like the older system, but you have communications from interior to exterior. So that's what we found the best way to go. And we're looking for another couple more off-air channels for that reason.
My understanding has always been that UHF was the recommended frequency for in-building use.
No, they've had trouble with it because it's the digital signal, and they started out with UFH before, and what they found is interior. They couldn't penetrate depending on your buildings and stuff.
Now, if it's a permanent building, you can use an antenna of some sort, right? Did you tell me that or not? If you have a UHF system and a radio inside a building?
Yeah, what we're doing is like for the village police, we put an antenna outside and we put them a base station there, but as far as the portables, they may not work inside the buildings
Right,
and
but
stuff.
for
So
the base, it works fine
the
now.
base works, because you have an outside connection.
But Jerry, if I hear you correctly, these firemen are going into structure fires, and they're unable to communicate with these radios well? Is that what you're saying?
They go to a TAC channel, which works for them. It puts it right back like the old radio system. It takes you off the trunk system. So when they're there and the person outside, the safety officer, whoever else is out there, be on channel 7, monitoring your interior people. So
Basically, your command center, there's going to be an individual there on a separate channel to monitor your interior men so they can talk back and forth. So, I mean, the line of communication will be the same, really, Craig. It's just not, you're just going to have one.
If they think to switch to that TAC channel.
Yeah, but you had to switch anyways, because when we got called out, we went interior, we always switched to a different channel to communicate with each other anyway. So it really isn't, the protocol really isn't anything different.
yeah, even for the old system, we used to switch channels.
Switch channels, that way you're not on the same channel with dispatch or anything else. So we've always been doing that anyways.
As long as it isn't a big safety issue for the firemen.
Any other questions for Jerry? Thanks for the clarification.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Larry, Economic Development?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. At the committee meeting, we discussed hiring Terry Tiss to design and engineer a septic system for Singing Waters. The money for $2,000. The money is in the budget. It's a professional service, so we don't need to bid it. So I would like to, just for clarification, I would like to make a motion that we hire Terry Tiss to design a septic system for the Singing Waters Park.
Motion by Larry, second by Greg. Discussion, questions?
He'll sign and stamp that, right?
Other comments? All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
With respect to a report, I don't really have a report to give. I have several resolutions in the packet, so I'd rather use the time answering questions there.
Very good. Okay. Greg, taxation, elections, IT.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Very simple on IT. The Mohawk, this Jeff B. Koo, if I'm pronouncing it correctly, they've changed their name to North Country Broadband. They're moving forward and it's looking very promising. He did mention, though, he's working with, we put him in touch with Eric down at IDA. He's looking for some people that have the expertise, probably electricians that also have the proper insurance, to team up with him and work as installers. So if you know anybody like that, you can refer him to Eric and we'll get him to this guy, because he's going to be up and running very shortly. With elections, nothing much to report. They just they saved a silver bullet on the cost of elections because it wasn't a national elections this year. They had the village elections with Krogan and Lowell. Krogan chose by resolution to move their elections to the November cycle, and that will save considerable in the elections. Lowell hasn't chosen to do that. I have nothing further to report. Thank you.
Thank you, Greg.
Craig, I would mention to you that up at the DSS lot, we use Northern Pioneer Electrical, and they did a really good job for us. Very responsive, and Dick, you would concur with that, wouldn't you?
Yep.
Regarding their capabilities for the last mile, I'm not sure, but I would not hesitate to recommend them if they felt like they could handle it.
I guess there's some true concern about people who have the expertise because they're dealing with getting up on people's roofs and penetrating the wall of their homes, and you gotta have that $1 million liability package. So that's why he's kind of looking for people who have the experience, because they also will most likely have the insurance.
Right.
And also, before I give up the podium, I noticed these are sitting in front of each and every one of us. I don't know who brought them in, but I think it's admirable and that they're locally made and they're quite attractive. So I want to put in a plug for
They come
Krogan
from-
Candy
They come
Kitchen.
from Krogan.
Yeah, isn't that great?
They taste good too.
Did you get that out? They taste good too. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, good. Greg, transportation, solid waste.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I might as well start right out with the motion for highway. Dave Becker wants to refill 1 full-time heavy equipment operator and 1 full-time medium equipment operator for impending vacancies due to retirement and promotion. So I'll make that motion start right now.
Moved by Greg, second by Brian. Discussion. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
Okay, now, solid waste, Pete's continuing to see an increase in the recyclables, and he's up to between 8 and 10 ton a day going to Herkimer daily. He said he's up about 40% on the recyclables from prior to the clear bag. We had a discussion about burning, if there was a possibility of burning trash and converting it to power, but from what Pete's found out from talking to the other solid waste facilities, our tonnage isn't high enough to probably do that. Last week I was looking at 200 tons a day, we're at about 50 ton a day, and they don't really have enough. So it's just barely there for profit. Pete's guys have been working on removing the metal bins from the recycle building. And we're gonna be have a bid opening this month for the zero sort equipment. And it looks like Pete's cutting back on what he wants in there, so he's reduced the cost. He's looking at what he thinks can possibly be about $350,000 for a cost, and Dank's kicking in $100,000. So it'll bring our cost down to $250,000. And Dank's very happy with our progress as far as that goes. And let's see, from the highway, paving is going well. Bid price for oil was, we've saved quite a bit of money, just close to $100,000 with the oil price being down. And Dave did get confirmation on Pave New York money. There's going to be $395,903.33 for the next 5 years with all the chips. And that's my report.
Thanks, Greg. Question, Dave?
Yeah, Greg, when I heard Pete talk before on the recyclable amount, I'm pretty sure he said that 75% of the recycling was already happening, that it was about 25%. So is what he's saying, he saved 40% of that 25%? Because we were already at 75% according to when he was briefing us.
Well, the last I knew, before we started this program of the clear bags, we were getting about 5 to 6 ton a day of recyclables, and now we're at 8 to 10 ton a day. So,
Yeah, so we weren't getting the 75%.
yeah. So that's what we're up to.
I think what he meant, Dick, if I understood Pete correctly at the meeting, is that he's seen a 40% increase over what we were already getting.
That's what I thought it meant too.
Yeah,
But
so
those
then,
figures are.
that doesn't mean he's getting 100% or 70% of the total amount that he could get. He's just saying it's gone up 40.
Right, but those figures are more than that. They're impressive.
Brian?
Yeah, Greg, the three of you are on that committee, right?
I was, yeah.
Okay. Oh, Phil, you're on.
Phil.
I was talking to a friend of mine, he's on the town board for Krogan. He went to a seminar or something up to Lake Placid here in the last couple months. And they were telling him, like for the snow plows and like that, the USDA have grants out there for municipal snowplow equipment and stuff. I don't know if that's ever been looked into before or not. I mean, I would have never thought of it with the USDA, but they were telling him that there was grant money out there for snowplow equipment and stuff.
It could be, I have not heard that.
I haven't heard that, but
Yeah.
we're gonna have Dave look into it.
Yeah, I just found it interesting. I was with him here Sunday night, and he was telling me that he went to something up to Lake Placid for local government training and stuff. And the person he talked to had mentioned that to him.
Anything else for Greg? Thanks, Greg. Dick, hospital?
Yes, thank you. First off, we were informed that the New York State DOH has approved the payment of $4 million to our facility for the 2014 IGT funds for the nursing home. We expect to see something on that in the next 30 days, so towards the end of the month. We've received $180,000 from the DISRUPT program so far, working out the details for the essential provider grant of $6.58 million. We're working on the VAP program. We were awarded $1,040,000 for this program. Covers the 2-year period, October 2015 through 2017. The insurance committee is going to meet on July 7th to review quotes for the workers' compensation. They've been looking into that. Mr. Hellinger reported that our gain was $451,934 versus a budget of $22,694. Year-to-date surplus is $1,582,835 versus a budget of $1,536,698. So, according to that, we're fairly well on what the budget was. Liability of the county is $3 million as of June 16th. We're continuing to be on target to pay the county. We're working that 6.58 essential provider grant with the county and trying to figure out the best way to get the money here and then who to give it to manage it. We're going to a VIB-QUIB, which is a value-based payment quality improvement. It's going to run from April 1st, 2016 to March 31st, 2017. We're awarded $5.5 million through that program. It'll be split up by months. We should receive our first payment sometime in August, so we can tell you more about what that's going to be each month. We've been working our cost reports with Medicare, Medicaid, and what have you, and we've been able to pick up $1.7 million off that for 2015, where they rectify the cost reports, and Medicare and Medicaid, we have a disagreement, so we go back in and tell them our side of it, and then they take a look at it and say yes or no, so that was positive. The average monthly payment period was 82.5 versus a budget of 77.1, so it was a little bit higher, but it's also the third lowest level in 3 years, so pretty good news. The billing department was able to collect an all-time high on patient accounts for the month of May, totaling $4.5 million. The Lewis County Hospital Foundation, through generous donations, designated for the Rainbow Community First Floor, recently purchased 8 companion cats for residents. Now, before you get excited, these cats run on batteries and they respond to touch. And the people really like them. From what they explained that night, the cat could be sitting here and you stroke it and it'll purr. Or you touch its back and it'll roll over so you can pet its belly and stuff. But it's really helping, the first floors are dementia people, and it's helping bring peace and stuff to those folks. So that's working out really good.
I've got one I'll donate to the pump.
Runs on batteries?
It could.
Yeah. Okay. And then the last thing is we're putting a grant in to secure 2 new buses through an ADHC registration for the nursing home residents in the community. If this is successful, we get the buses for about 25%. Our cost 75% picked up by this grant. Yes.
Dick, that workman's comp, I mean, you said they're meeting sometime this month, but if they're gonna pull out, they have to let us know by the end of June, right?
Yeah, there's not gonna be a pullout this year. That date's already passed, and depending on what they come back, I suggest we watch that, because if they can make some money on it, maybe we can, or they may find out they can't make any money and they just stay with us.
So they're just still doing their due diligence?
It's just a study right now.
Don't anticipate anything?
Right, yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
thanks.
But I'll let you know more next month as we find out from these folks.
Anything else?
Nothing else for Dick? Thank you, Dick. Andrea, Public Health, Community Service.
Thank you. The budget increase in order to incorporate the COLA funds that will be received this year. Penny reported that the next regional project advisory committee meeting of the Central New York District will be held on Thursday at the hospital. The Medical Reserve Corps will be volunteering with Public Health at the county fair to distribute mosquito and tick bite prevention information. The preschool program will end this school year serving 120 children. 90 will be in summer school services, and 59 are currently enrolled for services in the fall. These numbers are similar to the past few years. And for community services, the 2017 Lewis County Community Services Plan was completed and submitted to the state. The goals for 2017 are to ensure continuity of care and timely access to services, improve awareness of suicide risk in the community, advance the understanding of state initiatives and how these will impact access and county needs, working with the local agencies, improve access, choice, and utilization of transportation options, increase the community's knowledge of the opium, heroin crisis resources and treatment options, working with the local stakeholders
develop a plan to attract and retain qualified clinical staff needed to serve our population. The Lewis County Suicide Coalition is working with Fort Drum Regional Health Planning Organization on a tri-county suicide coalition initiative. The coalition will be working on a strategic plan to increase awareness of suicide prevention in our community. And that's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you, Andrea. Liz, County Manager report.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I had a wonderful vacation. Feels like I never left. Just quickly, just on an update on Tyler Munis. We've nailed down the schedules finally for both financials and payroll. Financials will go live the last week of October and the first week of November. So there will be a considerable amount of ramp up for the Munis team starting in August. I think we go 3 straight weeks in August. Payroll, which will be, initially it's going to be a larger group, then it's going to condense to a smaller group. That will start in mid-September, and the cutover date for that right now is the last week of March and the first week of April. The first pieces of the 2017 budget are due into the IFM system this Friday, July 8th. That will include just headcount and the .4s, which is I'll call the incidental expenses, not the major program expenses. The full budgets are due to be in IFM September 2nd, but we'll be working on them incrementally between now and then. And that's all I have for today, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Liz. Patty, Treasurer's report.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Have balances for the month. Special contingency is $249,168. Regular contingency is $431,000. Capital data processing is $130,081.17. Capital equipment for highway is $137,213.98. County capital equipment is $242,883.43. Sales tax, actually we did really well, and we are up and in good shape at $4,282,796. Hospital, as they said, is on time, and the balance is $3 million. Internal Service Fund has a fund balance of $845,000, which is up from last month, but because of the change in the plan, there were some hold on claims, so that's kind of a false fund balance right now. So it probably will take a dip again for next month. And that's it, if anybody has any questions.
Any questions for Patty?
Yeah, I've got one. Patty, was this quarterly med tax report?
Yes.
And disturbing on here to me was that in the establishment delinquent and filing the current quarterly report, in 2015 it was 4, and in 2016 there's 8 of them. And the dollar values are quite significant, so I'm assuming
Well,
some of them
there's
have
one
filed.
big one.
That's what I'm
that
saying,
did-
there's one
yeah,
big one.
There's
That's
one
what I
big
thought.
one.
That's what I thought. And we haven't found anything to encourage them to do it on time like they're supposed to yet, right? Okay.
Anything else for Patty?
I just want to say, when we say they're delinquent, it's like 10 days. So it's not extremely delinquent.
No, I
So I
understand
just want you to know that too. But
This
yes.
is on money they've collected.
Absolutely,
Yeah, okay.
absolutely, yes.
So generally, Patty, how long is it before they?
After about 30 days, we send it to Joan. Mhm.
Thank you, Patty.
You're welcome. Thank you.
And for my report, I did attend the Clean Energy Conference in Utica June 14th, and interest to this county was the discussion that was held down there with a representative from the governor's office and the state energy department. We were able to corner them and for a private meeting to talk about re-energy. So I think that was beneficial, and we're gonna follow up with a phone conference call any day now, this week or next week. Next thing, we held our inter-county meeting in Inlet. We passed several resolutions pertaining to things such as indigent defense, the DD salary, and 911 surcharge. Next meeting, the 28th of July in St. Lawrence County. I attended the Thompson Park Fort Drum Monument unveiling, and what made it all worthwhile was just the one speech by our guest speaker. It was the former Fort Drum Commander, Lieutenant General James Campbell. Dick, you probably know him?
Yeah,
I didn't realize that, but wow, what a well-spoken speech he gave. It's just very impressive. It was worth the trip just to hear it. But, so that went well. Last thing on my list, I had someone come to see me from Habitat for Humanity here a couple weeks ago. It's unfortunate, but they cannot use the home. They said it's beyond restoration. They found it, they had looked at it previously from the road and thought it looked well, but on further investigation, they said the foundation was too bad, beyond repair, and rooms were pretty rough shape, and just overall they could put more money into it than it was worth. They left me with a lot of pictures if anybody wants to see it, but unfortunately it's just not usable to them. And one thing, they never did transfer the deed, so it's still in our name. So I guess we're stuck with it. That's it for my report. Any questions?
So does that mean that goes back on the tax auction next year? Of course, it will be in here, no?
Right, Joan, we'll
Yeah.
just sell it next year.
Yeah, we'll back up next year.
Mike, I got one.
Yeah, Dick?
As they were closing out the state budget, I was trying to follow the attorney money. Did they decide to pay us for the DA's salary increase or?
The Senate went along with it, but the Assembly never brought it up for discussion.
So it's still ours?
Right, yep. And that, like I said, we're not giving up on it. In fact, I pointed out to NISAC that, I asked them if it was a hopeless cause, and they said, no, it's just something we gotta keep lobbying for. It's not gonna happen this year, but, you know, we were close. We had the Senate support, but we didn't, the Assembly just didn't act on it. Questions? Okay, was there any other comments for the public hearing regarding the Lee Golf Trail being included in the ATV trail permit system? Or we close the public hearing? Okay, if not, I'll announce that that is closed. Go to the Ways and Means report for Rule 7, Terry.
The committee reports they have examined the claims presented for payment in the total amount of $853,276.80 and recommend that they be audited and allow for the amounts claimed.
Moved by Brian, seconded by Jerry. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
First resolution then is auditing and allowing the claims for $853,276.80.
Moved by Phil, seconded by Jerry. Roll call, please, Terry.
Brennan,
Yes.
Chartran,
Yes.
Dahlhoff,
Yes.
Hathaway,
Yes.
King,
Yes.
Coulter,
Yes.
Mowerhand,
Yes.
Ogier,
Yes.
Fawcett,
Yes.
Tabo.
Yes.
Number 245 has been withdrawn. I see that you have a late resolution to replace that. 246, to incorporate Great Lot Sportsman's Club property into the ATV trail system.
Moved by Jerry, seconded by Larry. Discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
To incorporate the grower property into the ATV trail system.
Moved by Larry, seconded by Jerry. Discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
To incorporate the Lee Golf Trail properties into the ATV trail system.
Moved by Craig, seconded by Brian. Discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
To incorporate certain reforested lands into the ATV trail system.
Moved by Jerry, second by Craig. Discussion. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
To incorporate Tuck Hill properties into the ATV trail system.
Moved by Brian, second by Craig. Discussion. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
Calling out,
I just wanted to ask a quick question. How many miles does this, all these resolutions, how much does that entail? About?
Great Lots is about 6 miles. Tug Hill Properties, probably 4. Growers will probably be around 6. The county properties will probably be another 4.
So about 20 miles then?
Yes.
Thanks.
calling on all state and county officials, residents, and business owners to adopt the Think Differently initiative to assist individuals with special needs and their families.
Moved by Phil, second by Brian. Discussion. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
Authorizing agreement between Lewis County and NCC Systems.
Moved by Rocky, second by Jerry. Discussion. Phil, can you explain this?
Yes, I can. This is for, mainly for fire surveillance, or however you want to say that, in all these places, and then with the DMV and Commons, it's fire and security. So if there's an alarm for security and fire in DMV and Commons, they're notified. If it's fire, only in the other buildings. It's the remote monitoring. As a matter of fact, it kicked off yesterday because the power was out apparently, and NCC called us and asked about it to make sure everything was okay because their alarm went down.
So is somebody constantly monitoring?
Yes. Yeah.
It's not you.
You're fortunate in that respect, yes.
So was an RFP done on this? Or did it go out to bid, or does it need to?
Well, it's a professional service at $384 a year.
Actually, I believe that this was a state-bidded company, so I think it was fine.
Larry, question?
So how does it work, Phil? Does someone respond locally, or they just flip it over to the fire department, or?
What they do, well, in the case of the power being out, they have a list of Frank and Mark and those guys. But if there's a fire, NCC will call 911.
Okay.
Or the security as well.
Any other comments? All in favor of the resolution, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
To appropriate funds, community services.
Moved by Andrea, second by Dick. Discussion. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
To appropriate funds, community services.
Moved by Rocky, second by Andrea. Discussion. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
To appropriate funds, Blue Street over Whetstone Creek.
Moved by Jerry, second by Rocky. Discussion. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
Amending compensation plan with reference to Department of Highways.
Moved by Brian, second by Craig. Discussion.
This is the one you talked about earlier.
Comments?
This is the third one, isn't it, Greg?
Yes.
Yes.
Yep. The other two were
The other two were
motions
opposed.
because those people are still on board.
Okay. All in favor of the resolution, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
Authorizing amended and restated agreement between the county and the IDA to fully administer and service the microenterprise revolving loan fund.
Moved by Larry, second by Craig. Discussion.
Rocky, How much is in that fund currently? Not the 76,000, but you have the fund there, right? for
Yeah, and I don't.
20 or 30,000 or something like that. It's very small, right? 30. Okay. Just
Not
curious.
sure of that.
I was just curious.
Yeah.
That's good enough.
Other questions? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
Authorizing a memorandum of understanding for the Office for Aging and Alzheimer's Association Central New York chapter.
Moved by Rocky, second by Andrea. Discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
To appropriate funds, Planning Department.
Moved by Larry, second by Brian. Discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
Urging Governor Cuomo to sign into law Public Defense Mandate Relief Act.
Moved by Craig, second by Jerry. Discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
Approving agreement between Public Health and Department of Health for lead poisoning prevention.
Moved by Andrea, second by Rocky. Discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
To appropriate funds, Public Health.
Moved by Andrea, second by Jerry. Discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
To transfer funds, Public Health.
Moved by Andrea, second by Phil. Discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
Authorizing agreement with Public Health and Department of Health for cancer screening program renewal and extension.
Moved by Brian, second by Larry. Discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
To transfer funds, Public Health.
Moved by Rocky, second by Larry. Discussion? All in favor, say aye. Opposed? Carried.
Authorizing renewal of memorandum of understanding between Department of Recreation, Forestry and Parks and BOCES for access to county property for forestry students.
Moved by Larry, second by Craig. Discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
Authorizing grant application for Miller Front Park project.
Moved by Andrea, second by Brian. Discussion?
How much are we asking for on this one and the next one, actually?
This one is about 54,000 and the next one has been withdrawn. The total budget on this one was 54,000. It's up to them of how much of that they award, right? Maybe.
It's a planning grant, so it's for the engineering studies.
I couldn't hear you.
It's a planning grant, so it's for the engineering and designs.
Is it part of the 54, or is that?
That is, the
That's the
planning grant
engineering?
is 54,000.
Okay.
Because
That's
it's
fine.
river frontage, there's more cost to it.
Any other questions? All in favor of the resolution, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
Number 268 has been withdrawn. 269, to transfer funds, Recreation, Forestry and Parks.
Moved by Larry, second by Brian. Discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
To appropriate funds, Sheriff's Department.
Moved by Dick, second by Jerry. Discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
To authorize extending agreement between the county and Division of Homeland Security and Emergency Services.
Moved by Rocky, second by Larry. Discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
To appropriate funds, Social Services.
Moved by Andrea, second by Rocky. Discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
To appropriate funds, Social Services.
Moved by Rocky, second by Jerry. Discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
To appropriate funds for Social Services.
Moved by Phil, second by Larry. Discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
Establishing county policy for foster care rates based on Office of Children and Family Services statewide standards.
Moved by Phil, second by Dick. Discussion. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
Standard workday reporting resolution.
Moved by Larry, second by Rocky. Discussion. All in favor, say aye. Opposed? Carried.
Amending compensation plan with reference to social services, summer youth employment.
Moved by Rocky, second by Andrea. Discussion. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
Approval of youth services providers for program year 2016.
Moved by Brian, second by Jerry. Discussion. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
Authorizing an increase for 2016 resource allocation plan.
Moved by Rocky, second by Andrea. Discussion. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
To appropriate funds, Youth Bureau.
Moved by Phil, second by Andrea. Discussion. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
Amending compensation plan with Lewis County General Hospital.
Moved by Brian, second by Dick. Discussion.
One question, is this a new position? Dick, you know?
Well, you have to define new, I guess. What we had was a gentleman been there for 40 years roughly that resigned.
Yep.
So he was grandfathered into this sterile position thing. So we're abolishing his position to create this one that meets the mission.
Okay. Thank you.
Any other questions? All in favor of the resolution, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
One late resolution is authorizing and setting public comment period for Lewis County Agricultural District number 6, for 8-year review with incorporation of the 2016 annual inclusion review.
Moved by Larry, second by Craig. Discussion. All in favor?
Larry,
Yeah.
In
Questions?
simple words, what's this all about?
You want to take that one, Frank?
Sure. We are, we have, all our ag districts were combined into one district, District 6, several years ago, actually 8 years ago. So every 8 years, you're required to revisit your agricultural district review, complete throughout the entire county. So we're in that process. It's a 300-day process. The first part of it, Ags and Markets has changed their criteria over the 8 years, so there's a few more steps that we have to do now. The first step is what you're looking at this evening is setting a comment period for the month of August, which is a comment period to say that, yes, you agree that we have the 8-year Ag District Review. From that, we will go to setting a public hearing and then sending out surveys and incorporating our normal annual ag inclusion period into that entire process. So it'll be almost a 300-day process that we'll be going through. So we'll be coming back to a few times here and there. And our agricultural committee will be meeting as well. And then we'll do a final report. And this is a time when you can either opt out or opt into the entire program and redoing our mapping if in fact that's necessary. But this will go out, one of the significant changes is this now goes out to everyone within the ag district that has property. So in years past, it only went out to people that had 7 acres or more and that had a certain value of profit on their ground. Now it goes out to everyone within the ag district just as a survey and informational piece.
Thank you.
So it could open up for more people to be included.
Yeah, there's that possibility. You have the ability the same as with our annual review, which is done yearly from November 15th to December. People will have the opportunity to opt in. In the 8-year review, you have the ability to opt out. So every 8 years, you have that ability to opt out.
Excellent answer, Larry.
And this
Is that clear as mud?
clear.
Any other easy questions for Larry?
And Frank, thank you.
All in favor of the resolution, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
That concludes resolutions.
For other business, we have our annual golf outing next month on the 2nd. We'd like to propose that we change the meeting starting time to 9 a.m. Would we like to entertain a motion? Moved by Brian, second by Craig. Discussion?
The ending time is more important than the starting time.
We have a dinner time, Terry?
We are going to start golf at noon at Cedars, and the dinner will follow immediately.
Okay. Good. Other questions? All in favor of changing the time, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. And as I stated before, we have a proposal from Constable Hall to entertain our September meeting. Could we have a motion to that effect? Moved by Larry, second by Jerry. Discussion? All in favor of moving to Constable Hall for our September meeting, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
Let's start at normal time.
Yes.
I would advise you leave it. Most likely, yep. Okay,
They actually would like, they're gonna be open earlier if you want a tour.
that would be great. Let's
Yeah.
plan on doing that.
So just set a time if you wanna do it at 4. The tour at 4:15,
Do we, yeah, I'd say at least 4.
4,
Yeah.
because if some of you haven't been there, it's really quite nice what they're doing.
Yeah. Good.
Right, 4 o'clock.
Agreed. Okay. The 5 o'clock meeting. Okay, Phil, you said something about executive session?
Yeah, actually, it's going to be a meeting, attorney-client
So we can end the
confidential
meeting.
meeting on negotiations on.
So we can end our meeting?
It'd be brief.
Okay, motion to adjourn, moved by Craig, second by Brian. All in favor of adjourning, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? We are adjourned. And we will have an attorney-client, so legislators, please stay.